I recently completed the Medallium in Yokai Watch 3, as most of you know looking in the views of that video, and that's taught me a valuable lesson. Yokai Medalliums are very, very hard to complete. Ignoring the massive elephant in the room that we'll discuss later, a lot of yokai are either in awkward places or a really low spawn rate. However, in 3, a lot of very difficult yokai are made exponentially easier to obtain by the side mode, Blaster's Tea. So we won't be discussing yokai you might have thought would be here, like Sandy and Static King. The rarest yokai in the game are not seen anywhere in Blaster's Tea, or are very hard to get yokai in Blaster's Tea. So today, we'll be talking about the top 6 rarest yokai in the game. Keep in mind that this is my opinion of the rarest, so if you have any different experiences, let me know in the comments. Let's start with some honourable mentions. First, the yokai I mentioned earlier that were very easy to get in Blaster's Tea. These are the yokai that would have made the list otherwise but didn't because of this. Demuncher, Eilor, Goldenyan, Swash, Gleam, Static King, Daemona, Cruncha, Unfairy, Flengu, Sandy, Eterna, Anti-Heart, Beelzebub, Concavity, Shadow of Noct, Frosttail, Everforce, Mashable, Brazaria, Dragonlord, Castellius Max, Drenchetta, Nefarious, all the Usapion costumes. The Oni, Inflammaboy, Dr. Nocturne, Horrigen, Nefarious again, Skreek, the American Legends, the Robot Yokai, Kentaro, Slimander, Gusty Bones, Seaweed Sensei, Starry King, Yokozuna, What Options, SV Snaggerjack, Totem Mon, Sporink, Odyssey Nyan, Kabuking, Wobble, Waki Rudy, Rubius J, Hardy Hands, Magian, Sternanzula, Puppyland, Chimpanyan, Fetonyan, Machonyan, Sailor Nan, and Gorgeous Ambassador. That's a lot, I know, but it's important to mention them, as without Blaster's Tea, they're only extremely rare spawns in specific places, or hard to get reward from the Crank-a-kai. Sorry, let me breathe for a second. Fuck, I shouldn't have wrote that. Okay, let's keep going. I also want to mention Ulteria here, as you can only get her from Heavenly Excitement coins, but with QR codes you can only get about 11 on one save file. Chances are, if you use 5 or 8 Crank Days and Auspicious Aura, you'll probably get her, as that's the max you can boost it. However, if you don't, it becomes totally impossible to get yourself an Ulteria without trading. Pretty BS if you ask me. Blueshine and Horizontail have the same fate, but Horizontail has his own coin, it's really easy to get him with, and Blueshine is more common than Ulteria in the Heavenly Excitement coins, so it's not as hard. Next I want to talk about Robanyan and Harry-Barry. These two are only available as second prize from 1-star coins, and specifically Robanyan is available with play coins. Play coins are gathered by walking with your 3DS, and you need 10 to crank them once. Robanyan is a jackpot prize. As for Harry-Barry, you're stuck with aiming for red spots with 1-star coins, which is not very fun. Finally there's Brutal. I only thought of him after getting midway through writing this, and if this was a top 7, he would be number 7. You have a 1 in 3 chance of getting the Sushi Tempura ticket from Mystery at the Sacred Tree, then you have to go through the full course at Ambrosia Pavilion. Once you finish the course, he has a low chance of asking to battle you, and if you win, you can get his fusion item and evolve your Snartle. So that's all the honourable mentions out of the way. With all that said, let's get into the list, starting with number 6. Number 6. Tikapa. Tikapa is one of the 8 yokai required for Slurpent, and I would argue he's the hardest. Let's examine the 7 others and prove my point. Devourer is a rare spawn at the Nocturne Hospital's 3rd floor, so he's pretty easy to reset the floor for. Kingmara and Unikiran are both very easy to find at the Tower of Enlightenment. Arachnia is an easy encounter in Hazy Lane when you talk to the old lady with the scythe 4 times. Eilor is pretty easy to get in the Cluvian Keyhole Dastardly London. This leaves 3 yokai, Takapa, Ubergeeko and Mermother. Ubergeeko and Mermother are both exclusive to Ambrosia Pavilion, but they aren't a very rare spawn there with your specific tickets. With enough time, you can get them easily enough. Takapa is on another level of difficulty though. You have 2 options to obtain him. You could grind, specifically the Tempura Sukiyaki course in Ambrosia, and pray you get him, but he is the rarest spawn there. From my experience, he's even rarer than Unbeara Boy coming out to fight you. If this isn't your cup of tea, you could partake in everyone's favourite activity, rafting. He's a very, very, very rare spawn in the Grat and Hopper's Gorge course. Like, very rare spawn. Fun. Pretty self-explanatory why Tikapa is so hard to get, but I think it's worth it. He's so cool. Number 5. He Knows All. He Knows All is an auto-prevent at the end of the quest. In your dreams, He Knows All versus Jaws. Can't be too hard, right? Well, first you have to complete the quest, Are You Up to the Job, where you have to help a Static Kid get a job at Springdale Business Tower. Not too difficult, right? Well, there is one major roadblock with this quest. In order to access the secret floors of the business tower, you need to complete a battle board, and the yokai is Mr. Sanma. This is a massive problem. Obtaining a sand suit is very difficult as it's a random prize in the last triangle lottery. Lottery tickets are very easy to farm in 3 as you only need to trade green grams in the scrapyard for some trash for some lottery tickets. And there is a strategy to getting the last triangle that I'll explain to you now. First, get at least 8 lottery tickets. You want a good few, and 8 should be enough. Next, sleep and check the lottery. Do this every day until there are only a few prizes left. Important tidbit that I forgot to add is that you should probably alternate between sleeping till morning than sleeping till night, because if you just sleep till morning, the prizes will go doubly as fast, so it's a bit more risky. So wait until there are less prizes than you have lottery tickets, and then just use as many lottery tickets as you need, and if the last triangle is a sand suit, you're good to fuse your Sandma. So what's the big deal? I've made it sound really easy. Well, you can actually fuse Mr. Sandma with another yokai, why not, to get Nandi. This is the easiest way to get Nandi, and if you didn't know better, you probably already did this and got yourself a Nandi. Whoops. And now you need another Mr. Sandma to open this door. Very fun for people who didn't know better. Comment did this happen to you? Anyway, once you get through this oddly difficult requirement, you begin your ascent to the top of the Springdale Business Tower. At the top waits the big boss man, He Knows All. You have to beat him now, and he's one of the hardest bosses in the game. You probably figured that though, considering the recommended level for this quest is 80. But after getting through this grueling and difficult fight, you finally finish the first quest. The first quest? Yeah, only the first quest. Now you need to do the second quest, which is where things get really fun. You have to do a bit of running around the map to get Steve Jaws and He Knows All in contact, but once you meet them at Yapple HQ, He Knows All decides to go Super Saiyan on your ass. Now you have to fight He Knows All Awoken, the hardest boss in the game. The recommended level for this is 95, but even with level 99 yokai, this fight is absolutely brutal and demands good team building and grid movement skills. I recommend bringing a strong physical attacking core using Ancient Enma, as his skill can end the fight just that bit quicker, and he has the highest strength in the game. But you've finally beaten him, and only now do you befriend a level 50 He Knows All. All this work for a level 50 He Knows All. It's worth it until you actually befriend He Knows Awoken, who may or may not appear later on this list. Anyway, on to number 4. Number 4, Agon. This one is much simpler to explain than He Knows All. Agon is one of 3 yokai that can only be encountered on the train, the other 2 being Stat King and Kintaro Nyan. Those last 2 are very easily available in Blaster's T though, meanwhile Agon is totally exclusive to the train. How fun. The train is a widely criticised and hated part of Yokai Watch 2 and 3, and it seems like they did absolutely nothing to fix it in 3. I get that it tries to mirror a real train, but real trains all have mystical spirits walking down the aisle coming to fight you, so why make the train process realistic in the first place? From my testing, if you skip the dialogue as fast as possible, the cutscenes just take as long as the bits with no interaction, so about 25 seconds. With the battles, a good team should one-hit KO everything pretty quickly, so it should only take a bit longer than the other options. So you get one attempt at Agon every 30 seconds. The worst part? Agon is tied to Stat King as the rarest train spawn in the game. You'll be waiting a long time if you're unlucky, so you best have a forbidden fruit on hand, because you never know when you're going to see him again. I have no idea why they didn't just make the non-battle interactions on this train skippable, or why they didn't put Agon in Blaster's T, but we just have to live with it. Props to anyone who sat through the train grind for Agon. Number 3, Momonyan. Momonyan is part of the Momotaro Nyan group of yokai, including himself, as well as Chimpan Nyan, Puppy Nyan, and Pheasant Nyan. The last 3 are all including Spademouth as Clutefactor wards, but Momonyan himself is never to be seen in Blaster's T. Well, before Blaster's T was a thing, the only way to get these 4 was by using Wanderer coins. Wanderer coins are only obtainable in 2 places, Street Pass and Blaster's T. You may see QRs online, but trust me, they're most likely hacked and I wouldn't risk it. Street Pass is obviously not an option for reasons I'll explain later, so you're stuck with grinding Blaster's T for it. It's only a Clutefactor ward in one dungeon, the Labyrinth of Legend. This dungeon requires a stone to do, but there is a queue occurred for an infinite legend stone that I'll have on screen now. Alright, so now you've got your infinite legend stone, and you can challenge the Labyrinth of Legend as much as you'd like. Shouldn't be a problem getting Wanderer coins from here, right? Well, first you need to assemble your Clutefact collection squad. I recommend He Knows All Awoken, Infinite Enma, Recuperate, and Elder Bloom. Hino reveals the whole map, Invenma gives you infinite stamina, Elder Bloom is the best healer in Blaster's T, and Riku gives you a higher Clutefact chance. From here, you want to spend 1 Ghastly Fragment on Mystery Aura, as this increases the amount of yokai holding chests, as well as increasing Clutefact chances. Now you're finally ready to grind the Labyrinth of Legend for Wanderer coins. Just one more issue. Wanderer coins have a stupidly low drop rate from clue to rewards in this dungeon. You could go for hours and only get a few. You need some serious patience to grind these coins, but once you have, it's time to crank them. Now you're pretty unlikely to get first prize with these coins, there's only about 3 or 4 slots for it. Even if you do, there's a 1 in 4 chance for each of the 4 Momotaro Nyan yokai. You've probably already gotten the other 3 from blasters, so it's pretty infuriating when you pull one of those and not Momo Nyan. This one is an absolute nightmare, and I was incredibly lucky to pull Momo Nyan on my 3rd coin. Trust me, it's really, really, really hard to pull him and grind those coins. Good luck. Number 2. The Tag Devas. Richter Zazzle, Ancient Enma, Hino's All Awoken and Lord Enma Awoken are all Deva yokai. You can only find them in their dungeons in Blaster's Tea, and you have a chance of befriending them after you finish the dungeon. How do you access their dungeons though? Well, you have to talk to Mr. E in the Cluvian continent to obtain a Deva tag. Each of the 4 yokai has their own tag, the Righteous, Ancient, Awoken and Innovative tags. It's a 1 in 4 for whichever you get, but I believe when you get one of them, you're less likely to get their specific tag. For example, if you befriend Ancient Enma, you're less likely to get an Ancient tag. After this, you have to do their dungeon, and you have a small chance of befriending them. If you want to make this easier for yourself, take off your equipment before entering the dungeon, then put it back on. The T level of the dungeon is determined by your own T level, so taking your T level 130 equipment off and going down to T level 20 will make the whole dungeon, including the boss, T level 20, even after reapplying your OP equipment. So you blast through the shitty little dungeon with no issues, and you get a little cutscene with the Deva afterwards. So if you're lucky, you'll get them on your side. How lucky, you might ask? There's a 5% chance. You heard me right, a 5% chance. So let's do some mathemagic. Let's say you have none of the Tag Devas and you want Hino's All Awoken. You first have to get the 1 1/4 chance of getting the Innovative tag, then you have to get the 5% befriending chance. That's a total chance of... no, fuck that. I'm not a math magician. It's pretty damn low. Let's not forget Hino Awoken is pretty much required for Blaster's Tea as well, with his map revealing of being an essential effect. Good luck with that. Number 1. Pandanoko and Starinoko. These two were infamous for being the rarest yokai out there. I explained their ridiculous befriending requirements in my video about their usage in competitive, so go watch that instead. It'll be in the description. So that was, in my opinion, the 5 rarest yokai in Yokai Watch 3. What do you think of the list? Are there any yokai you struggle with that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments and have a good day.